Hello. So this week we're going to talk about listening again. And this week is going to be about lectures. So if you remember, last time we talked about listening, we talked about conversations. And in the listening part of the TOEFL, we're going to have conversations and lectures. So this week we're going to focus on lectures. So here is some information about lectures. First of all, there will be about 4 lectures that you're going to listen to and answer questions on the TOEFL, and we're going to talk a little bit about them.
You will listen to each lecture only one time, so make sure that you're taking really good notes while you're listening to the lecture because you only get one chance.
True, and we're going to talk about taking notes today, like on this video too. Also, the lecture is usually presented by a professor, so you're going to listen to a professor saying all the information, but...
Okay, sometimes it's a conversation between a professor and a student, or a professor and more than one student. Make sure that you take notes on both the students and the professor, not just the professor, because there will be questions based on what the students say as well.
Also, each TOEFL test will present you with several different subjects for the lecture. So you're going to listen to lectures on anthropology, biology, literature, chemistry, like all of these academic topics. But do not worry if you don't know a lot about the subject, because all the information you need to know will be in the lecture. So yeah, if you have some background information about the topic, great. But if you don't panic. All the information is going to be in the lecture.
And then finally, you'll be told the type of class that you are listening to before the lecture, so you'll know whether it's going to be a lecture about biology or a lecture about chemistry or history. So you won't be surprised like, oh, this is about biology, because they'll let you know in the instructions before they start the lecture.
So before we show you an example of a lecture, we wanted to review some note-taking strategies that, if you remember, some weeks ago you studied. So for example, when you take notes, what do you remember, Elise?
Well, first of all, you only want to write down content words, nouns, verbs, adjectives, adverbs, numbers, WH questions, because those are the important words. You do not want to write down function words, which are like grammar words, like articles and short prepositions and helping verbs. Those aren't necessary in your notes. And please don't write whole sentences.
Also use symbols when you can, abbreviations when you can. Write as fast as you can. It doesn't have to be pretty. You don't have to worry about spelling. So all of these things that we talked about when we talked about conversations, they apply to the lectures as well. So as a review, we are going to, Elise is going to read a short paragraph, and I'm going to try to take notes as fast as I can. So then we can review some of these strategies. So let's see what happens.
Okay. Portland Community College is one of the largest schools in the Pacific Northwest, with enrollment numbers of 93,000. That makes PCC over 4 times larger than most colleges. PCC has a partnership with Portland State University, which allows students to take courses at both schools. For example, Jan Evans is taking her English requirements at PCC while she begins engineering classes at Portland State University. This dual enrollment decreases the cost of getting a college degree.
Whew, okay.
All right.
So as you can see, the notes are not pretty, but I got all the information. I got PCC and PSU, so I used acronyms that I will understand, Northwest, and then numbers and symbols like bigger than, and the arrows as well. The arrow for decrease as well. So then if I have to answer questions right away, then I can just look at my notes, even if they're not pretty, and then I can find the answers right there. Okay. So another thing that we have to pay attention to when we focus on lectures, I'll take notes on lectures, is that each professor is going to organize ideas in different ways. So we're going to go through some of the ways that professors can organize the ideas in the lectures. So again, Elise is going to read a few examples of lectures, just a few sentences, and then we're going to see the relationship of the ideas, among ideas here. So the first one is definitions. So some of the lectures will focus on definitions, will give you definitions of something. So here is an example.
Okay. A menu is a list of computer functions that appears on the screen.
So as you can see, so when you are listening to definitions, then you could use the equal sign. So then you know that it's a definition, and then you also notice that that's what the professor is saying, how he or she is organizing the ideas. And on the TOEFL exam, usually one of the questions for the listening is about how the teacher organizes ideas. So then you will be ready to answer that question as well.
So the next one is organization of ideas is classification. Two types of motivation has been identified by cognitive psychologists. Intrinsic motivation, which is based on internal factors, as for example, curiosity or the challenge to succeed. Whereas extrinsic motivation involves external incentives, such as rewards or even punishments.
So again, as you can see, they are not pretty, but as soon as she said they can be classified into two categories, then I have here the classification. So then I know that motivation will be classified according to two groups, right? So then again, even if I don't have complete words in here, abbreviations, in the listening, the questions are going to be multiple choice format. So then even if you don't have the complete words, then you can guess later based on your notes. So they don't have to be complete. So another type.
Okay, so the next type that we're going to discuss, or I'm going to model, is sequence. So the history of Cubism falls into three phases. The Cezanne phase, which lasted only 2 years, from 1907 to 1909, followed by the analytical phase from 1910 to 1912, which, by the way, was the phase in which the most abstract purification of the form was realized. And finally, the synthetic phase, beginning in 1913.
So again, when she said history, then I already knew that it's going to be something chronological. So usually for history lectures, you would want to use 1, 2, and 3, like like more chronological formats. You will see probably facts in order. So next one.
So the next one that I'm going to model is comparison and contrast. Although each person is responsible for one instrument in most sections of the orchestra, the members of the percussion section are required to play several instruments in one concert or even for one composition.
So this one is a compare and contrast. So then doing like an X or verses or something that will show you that there is a difference between the two. So in this case, each person in the orchestra plays one instrument, except the percussionists that play more than one. So then here you can see right away that it's comparing the two.
Okay, the next one I'm going to model is cause and effect. When temperatures on the Earth dropped below the melting point of the rocks on the surface, the outer crust gradually solidified.
So again, not pretty at all, but you can see when the temperatures go down, then here is symbolizing cause and effect. So when this happens, then this happens. So then I know right away when I'm answering the question that this is cause and effect. And finally.
And the last one that I'm going to model is problem and solution. The problem is that most populations of ginseng in Canada are too small to survive unless they are completely protected from harvesting by humans.
So then here also problem solution, the note-taking strategy would be very similar to cause and effect, because something happens because of something. So then here the population of ginseng is too small, it's gonna die. So then the only solution is that there is no more harvesting. So then you can see using lots of symbols that will help you understand the organization of the ideas, and will make you take notes faster. And again, just to remind you, they don't have to be pretty, but you have to understand what you're saying. If you don't have a system and then you just write words in there, then it's not going to make sense later. So you have to find a way that works for you. So we'll show you an example of a lecture in the next video.
All right, thank you.